execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
And hello, everybody. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us. It is good to be with you on this Inauguration Day, Wednesday, January the 20th. I'm joined by Julia Sun, who is with us from Quick Hits News. So, Julia, what a day. How you doing?
What a day. What a beautiful day. And just so everybody knows, there is nobody else I'd rather spend today with than you. I only wish the two of us can be in D.C. today doing our hit shows live from the National Mall instead of in our living rooms, but this is good.
Well, I'm going to get people started, to give people a little bit of a flavor. And by the way, we will take questions from everybody over Haps and Facebook and Twitter and all the rest to get everybody a little bit of flavor of what we're going to do. We're going to have a little bit of fun and playing off of Julia's point. Julia, so there was this picture of Bernie Sanders today that has gone viral. Bernie was wearing some sort of like a snowboarder's jacket and wearing these brown Vermont mittens. And he looked kind of grumpy because there he was sitting by himself, socially distanced. You want to take a guess at any of the memes on this one?
No, I haven't seen any memes on him, but yeah, he looked rather lonely over there. I don't feel sorry for him. I'm sure he's happy today. Maybe he was just cold.
Yeah, you know, I have a feeling that actually I don't feel sorry for him either because I think he actually stayed warm. Apparently, this jacket, there's a great backstory to it. His wife says that this jacket was made by a snowboarding company that is owned by a family friend. They originally stitched his face on it. He said, "I love the jacket. I just don't want my image." So they gave him one without his image, and then the gloves were made for him by a teacher 2 years ago, and he's been wearing them on the campaign trail. So in any case, good for Bernie Sanders dressing pragmatically as he should. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of Joe Biden's speech and then get your reaction to it on the other side. This clip goes about a minute. Here it is.
Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed. For without unity, there is no peace, only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage. No nation, only a state of chaos. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge. And unity is the path forward.
Unity is the path forward. What'd you make of the speech, Julia?
I think it's very well delivered. I never really thought a Biden speech would move me. I mean, he's a career politician. He has been in and out of Washington for decades, and I never thought a speech would move me. But I gotta say, after 4 years of hearing speeches of other flavors, when I heard this today, I was like, oh, wow, this is normal. This is supposed to be normal. I think it was an excellent speech, and I think Amanda Gorman, who delivered such a beautiful written poetry today, echo that point that we came that close. This country came rather close to losing our democracy, and at least we got our back. At least we can take this moment to cherish the day we got our democracy back on track. I mean, Amanda Gorman said, yes, democracy can be dimmed temporarily, but it can never be taken away. I probably have a different read on that. I think given enough time, yes, democracy would always prevail. That being said, for the people who perished when the lights were not on, they would never see democracy again. Just think about the more than 400,000 Americans who lost their lives to the coronavirus, or think about all the Jews before 1945. Democracy for them, it's not a word anymore. It's a concept very foreign. It's just that for people like you and me, we're pretty lucky we get to see democracy coming back.
Yeah, and I loved Amanda Gorman's line where she talked about quiet is not peace, which is so appropriate because there's so many people who felt like, oh, we can just be quiet about all the things that have been going on in the Trump era, and things will just be fine. And no, they weren't. As far as the speech, I thought, I agree with you. I thought Biden's speech was actually pitch perfect because it was both aspirational. We all need to come together. We're in unprecedented times. We do our best when we all work together. But he also referred to the challenges that the Capitol's had over the past couple of weeks, and the fact that yes, in this hour, democracy won. And I just thought, I mean, even, Fox News' Chris Wallace, who can be, fairly critical and has seen a lot of these things, said it was the best inauguration speech he had ever seen in his career. And he said that on Fox News. So it goes to show, I think you're right on. Now, in terms of the stuff that, the entertainment, I mean, this is a great opportunity for people who don't know who Lady Gaga is or don't get to see Jennifer Lopez or Garth Brooks. I mean, I thought, knocked it out of the park. But out of those three, which one do you want to hear?
Look, J-Lo will always be my queen.
All right.
You never see an act where, J-Lo was Justice Roberts' warm-up.
Please welcome Jennifer Lopez to perform This Land Is Your Land and America the Beautiful, accompanied by members of the
All right, so here is
States
J-Lo
Marine
walking
Band.
out. We're going to listen to J-Lo for a couple minutes, per the request of Julia's son. And then because I loved Lady Gaga, after this, we're going to play Lady Gaga singing the Star-Spangled Banner, which I thought she also knocked it out of the park. But for everybody who missed it, there's Jennifer Lopez earlier today. And they say, that part of the thing about inauguration is not just about a celebration of democracy, but also a celebration of winter fashion. I mean, Jennifer Lopez and her fashion sense is always remarkable. And she just, I just thought it was so interesting. There she was, sang hello to the president, President Obama.
I love her coat. I love her coat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the coat is amazing. Okay, let's listen.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking down that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. Oh, this land, this land was made for you and me. Oh, this land, this land was made for you and me. You and me. Oh, America, America.
Wow.
God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood. From sea to shining sea.
Amazing. I mean, look, we were talking earlier with Joe Williams from U.S. News and World Report, and he said, the Biden speech was that wonderful sort of locker room pep talk and made you want to run through a wall. I mean, I think when you listen to Jennifer Lopez and Lady Gaga, you think, you know what, as messed up as the United States may be, we produce the most remarkable musicians and artists in this country. Incredible.
Of course. Yeah. Let's hear Lady Gaga, your favorite.
Yeah, let's do Lady Gaga. And I have this thing. So little known secret about me, Julie. And by the way, hello from Mark Goldman and Pablo and Peter and all the rest who are commenting on Haps. Good to have you on board. Little known secret about me is that I was something of a band geek. I was also something of an athlete in high school, but I played in the high school marching band and basketball band. And when I was at the University of Michigan, I played baritone horn in the basketball band. So I'm really big into like college fight songs and all that kind of stuff. And I'm also really big into anthems because I had to play it so many. And so anytime I hear sort of an interesting sort of take on the national anthem, I think, wow, that's awesome. So I'm going to play something for Lady Gaga. To me, this is, I think, the second best anthem I've ever heard, other than Whitney Houston at the Super Bowl back in 1991, who had the famous version as the United States was about to go to war against Iraq. But here's Lady Gaga, and I just think because of the moment and because of how she delivered it, music and the musicality of this, I just was off the charts. I love this. Here it is. And you're gonna have to pardon me while she. Okay, here she goes.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
All right, I'm going to get your reaction to that, Julian, just a second. But first, to me, I mean, musicality, the song ends with a question, land of the free and home of the brave. Is it either or? And she answered it. By the way, she used in the inflection of her voice, it was sort of an exclamation point, we are brave. And so just because of that alone, and her voice is off the charts. But anyway, your reaction to Lady Gaga.
Well, first of all, Schuster, I did not know you play the baritone in a marching band. I imagine we would have a lot to talk about off camera.
Did you play the baritone horn?
Before my days on TV, I had a brief career singing off Broadway, so I appreciate every single thing she did there vocally. Just an amazing singer all around.
Now, you didn't play the baritone horn there. You were a singer off Broadway, right?
Yes, I was. I was not in the marching band. I was not that coordinated because you guys had to play, and then you guys had to march, and then you guys have to remember your formation, and you were wearing like a 10-pound costume. So that was not made for me.
That's true in high school. But I got to say, in college, all that work on the baritone horn paid off because the Michigan basketball band, we went to a couple NCAA tournaments and got to travel, and it was unbelievable. But anyway, back to Inauguration. Okay, so we've done Lady Gaga. We've talked about Biden's speech. We've talked about J-Lo. What do you make in terms of the news? Well, actually, I'm gonna. This is another one. This is another one that sort of stirred me, and this was sort of history in terms of breaking so many barriers. This is when the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, was sworn in. I'm going to put this up because I just found this interesting on so many levels.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
All enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, so there's so much to talk about there. I mean, you could talk about fashion, the purple. You can talk about the history of the first African American as either president, as a vice president, the first woman on the ticket. I mean, what do you make of it?
Well, there were a lot of beautiful moments during the ceremony, but this got to be my favorite moment, just because she really broke the vice presidential glass ceiling. It has been broken, ladies and gentlemen. Representation matters. And I'll say it again, representation really matters. You know that, I mean, you know me by now that I don't want to have kids ever, but I do want the girls younger than myself to have people they can look up to. I want everyone to be able to point to somebody and say, you know, when I grow up, I want to be like her. I felt myself, I didn't have that growing up. I think I did pretty well for myself regardless, but I wish I had more people to look up to, especially women.
So well said, and I agree. I mean, we had our 7-year-old daughter, who, by the way, we had her on a HAPS broadcast over the weekend. People should check that out if you want to talk. I mean, I'm biased. I think she's cute and smart. But anyway, but we had her, you know, out of school for her Zooming. She was supposed to be Zooming. We got her out so she could watch, and she watched the Star-Spangled Banner, and she watched Kamala Harris. And you can see in her eyes just how inspired that she was that, oh my God, there's a woman. There's a woman an African-American woman, and she's, you know, the vice president to Joe Biden, and just sort of how it mesmerized her as a 7-year-old. And I think to that point, just sort of the inspiration that it gives, and the hope and the optimism, I think also in terms of the times that we live in, and that anybody now, regardless of your background or your gender or even your sexual orientation, maybe can reach this level.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. It was only 3-4 generations ago, American women weren't able to vote. See how far we've come. I mean, you know that being on TV was never part of my plan growing up, but I do have so many colleagues in journalism, on TV, on video hosting, digital shows all around the country. The ones who look like me, they repeatedly told me the person who inspired them from the late 90s to after the 2000 millennial, the one who told them, oh, you can actually be on TV too, was Connie Chung. They looked up to her and they saw her. They're like, oh, if she could be on CBS, if she could be on CNN, if she could be on MSNBC, then why can't I be on it too? Someday, if I work hard, I will be able to on it.
By the way, a hello from lots of hellos from Tampa, from Rita, from Pablo in Los Angeles. Hello from Bloomington, Indiana, Susan Klein, one of our favorite fans, viewers of Quick Hits News. Also, lots of comments from Kathy Drew says, awesome. Hello from Naples, from Cami. David Benaim, hello from New York. Hello, David. Let's see. Another one of our regulars here, Rebecca Cifuentes. Hello, David. How are you? Rebecca, we're doing great. I'm doing terrific because I get to talk to Julia Son on an inauguration day. And hello from Cami in Naples. One thing that we haven't spoken about yet, Julia, and this gets a little bit sort of more serious, but I think we should definitely try to go there. There was Donald Trump on this day. He did not attend the Biden inauguration. Yeah, I mean, he skipped out. Let's see if I can pull this. Here it is. Here's Donald Trump talking when he was at Joint Base Andrews on his way to Florida this morning. Here are the comments that he made, and I'll ask for your reaction on the other side of this. Watch.
I will always fight for you. I will be watching, I will be listening, and I will tell you that the future of this country has never been better. I wish the new administration great luck and great success. I think they'll have great success. They have the foundation to do something really spectacular. And again, we put it in a position like it's never been before, despite the worst plague to hit since, I guess you'd say 1917, over 100 years ago. And despite that, the things that we've done have been just incredible. And I couldn't have done it without you. So just a goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
Thank you, Shepard Smith, for that clip. We love you. We will be back in some form. He went on to say, have a nice life. What do you make of that?
He was clearly talking to his base, and everybody knows he still has an extremely large base. I believe a lot of his Republican colleagues, they are trying to tap into his base to run in 2022, 2024. They don't want to lose them because they are actual votes. It's just that their rhetoric, I don't agree with them. I don't think you agree with any of them, but they are actual American voters. So he is speaking to those people directly. I don't think he wrote that speech. I think Dad probably wrote that speech. It was rather reserved. It didn't sound like him until, except the part where he says, oh, we did such an amazing job. We put the next administration on a excellent plateau. So they are ready to do their job because of us. That part sounded like him. Everything else sounded like somebody else wrote it for him.
Look, I think you're spot on. I don't think he wrote that, but I agree with you wholeheartedly that, people say that his political career is over. And I was sort of joking on Twitter tonight that yes, his political career is over. And now he's moved to Florida, the place where people go from New York when they're getting ready to die. And I was sort of saying that sort of metaphorically, not. But anyway, I'm not so sure that his political career is necessarily over. And I think in some sense, given, as you pointed out, that he does have a third of the country who will support him no matter what, that he could still be a potent political force. I think he probably does need to step back away from the limelight for a while and let people move on and perhaps try to somehow forget about the Capitol insurrection that he inspired. And then perhaps come back in a couple of years and say he's become a changed person to a certain extent, and maybe some people will believe him because, again, he does have incredible political talents and charisma. Your thoughts? I mean, is his political career over? Is there a path forward for him in 2024?
I definitely do not think his political career is over. I saw that tweet of yours. I cracked up. I know you were joking. Well, for him, Donald Trump, the person, Donald J. Trump, the person, I think whether or not his political career is ending depends largely on the outcome of the second impeachment. Will Democrats be able to get 17 Republicans to cross the aisle? Looks possible. It's plausible, but it's far from a sure thing. But even if that goes through, the Trump family brand lives on. Ivanka Trump, I think she wants Marco Rubio's seats in Florida. Other people, other family members can run for political offices. I definitely do not think the Trump brand is over.
That's a good point. And by the way, speaking of the Trump brand, there was perhaps some effort to try to fix that a little bit starting today, because apparently President Trump, and by the way, Joe Biden in his first appearance in the Oval Office tonight signed a whole bunch of executive orders on climate change, rejoining the Paris Climate Accords, on stopping the license for the Keystone XL pipeline, on extending the moratorium for student loan debt. And Biden was asked whether or not President Trump left him a note. There's sort of this tradition that presidents leave their successor a note. And Bill Clinton got a very nice note from George H.W. Bush. And Bill Clinton left a note for George W. Bush, who left a note for Barack Obama, who left a note for Donald Trump. Well, Biden said yes, that the note from Donald Trump was, quote, very generous. And he didn't want to read it because he had not yet spoken to Donald Trump. And so for now, he wanted to keep it private. But he said it was, quote unquote, generous. So let's have a little fun, Julia. This is one of my favorite memes of the night. People have picked up on this whole idea that Donald Trump left a note. I'm going to get in trouble for this, but whatever. Let me take the Oval Office of Biden down. I'm going to take me down. I'm going to take you down, Julia, and I'm going to put up what the note says. And here is the supposed note from Donald Trump. I left a poopy in toilet. Ha, 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 ha. Don. Is that funny?
I think it's funny. Sometimes he acted like a toddler. We've both covered him for 4 years. There were times there were no way to explain his whatever he did, except he was just not being rational. And I remember there was one time I was apologizing to a TSA agent. I was like, I am so sorry for our toddler-in-chief's action. And then he looked at me. He's like, geez, be fair to toddlers.
I agree. And you know what? This is back to something you said earlier, and that there's something sort of normal, right, about today. And to me, being able to laugh and people being able to have fun and smile again and say, okay, we can make fun of our political leaders and mock them, and that's okay. That's how it should be. We should be able to have a laugh at ourselves, at them, at each other. So let's see. Let's go with one more. This is another meme that, by the way, because Donald Trump took Air Force One down to Florida today, there were a lot of memes about Joe Biden getting the plane back. and how that was going to happen. So here's one of the other memes that somebody sent to me, and I thought was hilarious. And I'll pull this up so everybody can see it even bigger. Sorry. It says, Air Force One Part 2, get off of my plane. Thoughts on this one?
Well, Air Force One, of course, it's not a plane. There are many planes who could be in service of the president, and whichever plane that the president actually gets on, that is Air Force One for the duration of the flight. But that is very funny.
I'm with you. I thought I got cracked up. Okay, let's lose that. Let's get to a couple questions before we end this. And again, to anybody who's, let me move this over so people can comment if you like. You guys want to talk about how the media completely fabricated the narrative that the alt-right was going to protest in every capital city. It was completely false. Was it completely false that the alt-right was going to protest in every capital city, according to Kyle? Or was this a matter of because security got so strong that perhaps people were dissuaded from protesting in every capital city? Thoughts?
So let me tell you, so after Parler became popular, I signed up Parler at the very beginning of 2021 just to see what's up because I didn't want to miss the party. I definitely saw some extremist comments. Let's leave it like that. So I don't believe it was something completely fabricated. I cannot completely rule out that the authorities took it more seriously than it was. And I think from a law enforcement point of view, you should be taking things like this more serious than it is, because you should anticipate the worst. We're talking about the Capitol. We're talking about lives. We're talking about insurrections and people actually dying. So this, sorry, I forgot your name, this viewer, but I don't think that was the case. I don't think it was fabricated.
Yeah, to Kyle, to me, it was so sad that there had to be 20,000 National Guard troops and so much security in Washington. I think people were frankly dissuaded from being able to get there. And people looked up who might have had some ideas after the January 6th riot and said, oh, now we can have a second one. No, you can't. You're going to be totally outgunned, not only in Washington, D.C., but all across the country. And also, by the way, the FBI has been very aggressive in sweeping up so many people who were involved in this, whether it was coming to Washington, D.C., or the people who provided them with help. And I think there's a finite number of people who may exist out there who'd be willing to try to protest and cause trouble. And a lot of them have already been arrested. So maybe that had some impact as well. Donna Brewer, love seeing you from San Jose. Ayala was a delight. Donna, thanks. Y'all again reference to my 7-year-old. She is delightful most of the time, except when she doesn't want to eat fruit, which is most of the time. Any suggestions on how to get a 7-year-old Julia to eat fruit and vegetables?
I am really bad with kids, so I'm the wrong person to answer that question. Make the plate really colorful.
Yeah, I'm really bad with getting kids to eat fruit, so I don't know what the solution is to that, but that's a whole other HAPS conversation.
Let us know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do one more. This is one more sort of more serious moment that I sort of loved about today. I'm going to put this picture up. And this was at the Tomb of the Unknowns. There were the former presidents. I'll lose Julia and I'll lose myself, so the picture gets bigger. And there's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris going with I believe that's the commandant, standing in front of George W. Bush and Laura Bush, of course, in the blue, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama wearing dark in the end, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. There's something about the presidents of both parties, coming together that I just find so remarkable and so intriguing to watch.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
Me too. The key word again is unity, and that picture you have really exemplifies that message. The club of former president, that's probably the most exclusive frat house on earth. And these presidents clearly signal to Donald Trump, hey, you're probably not going to be welcomed back.
Yeah, right there with you. I mean, I'll never forget Barack Obama back in 2009. I think soon after his inauguration, he asked if all the living former presidents would actually come and have lunch with him and give him some advice. So there, Jimmy Carter was out with that one, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton. And so there's something about that sort of club and them all sort of getting together and understanding that this office transcends any single person, and it's about doing best for the American people and representing the United States as a whole, and doing it in a way hopefully that is decent, that is honorable, that helps all of us. And I think that's why so many people today.
Donald Trump, throughout his 4-year presidency, he also fought George W. Bush and George H.W. Bush, because the Bushes, they sort of represent the really traditional side of the GOP. I don't believe, I think Bush publicly said that back in 2016, he did not vote for Donald Trump. I don't think he said anything about the year 2020 election, but I think it's safe to assume that he didn't vote for Donald Trump. He made it pretty clear by being here.
Yeah. All right, Julia, final thoughts. We've gone 30 minutes, and thanks to everybody who's joined in for these memes and moments that we liked. Final thoughts from you about the day and what it all means moving forward.
I'm really happy that today happened. I know you and I, we covered the election, and there were moments that you and I, we weren't sure about how this would turn out. I'm just really glad how it turned out.
I'm right there with you. I'm glad that, that as Joe Biden said, democracy won, that it was peaceful today. There were no security incidents, no acts of violence, that it went as it should have been. I think my biggest regret is that, you know, as the pictures show, everybody was still wearing masks, social distancing. The pandemic is going to get worse before it gets better. And so there's so much that is on the plate of Joe Biden. And I think it will take all of us working together if we're going to get through this with as minimal damage as possible. So perhaps today was a great start. Julia, it is always a pleasure talking with you on big news days or small news days. Enjoy your week. Julia Sun with Quick Hits News. Julia, thanks for doing this. And thanks to everybody in HAPS and all the rest for helping us put this together. Have a good night, everybody. Happy inauguration.